Without a doubt, the most controversial thing that happened during the British Grand Prix was the decisive penalty to Oscar Piastri, the one that meant that unfortunately for him he had to give up the lead effectively to Lando Norris. He was judged by the stewards to have slowed down too dangerously, too erratically, and that caused a chain reaction throughout the pack as they got ready to restart after a safety car period. Now, at the time, like I said in my first video about this, I generally thought that Oscar Piastri was really hard done by that. But having looked at the data, having looked at the stewards' reasoning for giving a penalty, and also having a look at the onboards on some drivers further down the field as well, like Nico Hülkenberg, like he had to take to the grass because of the knock-on effect, effectively, from Piastri slowing down so much. He slowed down from, what, over 100 miles an hour down to about 30 or so, which in a Formula 1 car is basically like you're standing still. You might as well be at that point. So for me, no doubt, this definitely should have got a penalty. Should it have got a 10-second penalty though? That's the very much big debate that a lot of people are having on this. And I've seen it in the comments section in my video about this, which has done really well. I appreciate all your input on there. Some people saying that it's classic British bias. Has handed the win to the British driver Lando Norris. It was a fix, therefore, and some people being a bit more level-headed and saying, well, maybe a penalty was correct, but maybe a 10-second penalty was too much. Now, something I want to do in this video is look at the good old menu. Now, I didn't do this at the time because I didn't have it handy at the time. However, I've now found it. I've had a look. So for those that are unaware, I'm not about to order a pizza or something like that, although I'd love to, don't get me wrong. The menu basically refers to the thing that the stewards use to determine what penalty to get. It basically lays out all the different scenarios, every kind of incident you can imagine. It's basically the script. It's what they use to determine what is actually handed out in terms of a penalty or not giving a penalty. But what does the penalty say for an offence like this? If we have a look at the menu, you can see that here under the safety car and VSC procedures, which I'll have on the screen for you now, if you look at the bottom one of those, it is saying that if you drive unnecessarily slowly, erratically, or in a manner which could be deemed potentially dangerous to other drivers or any other person while the safety car is deployed. Basically, if you remember, this incident obviously happened during the safety car restart, and this is what Oscar Piastri will have been hit with. And if you look at the potential punishments for this, it basically says that they either have to give a 5 or a 10-second penalty or a drive-through or a 10-second stop-and-go penalty for something that is more serious. Now, the stewards opted to go on the lighter side of this, go for the 10-second penalty. They could have, if they chose to, gave a 5-second penalty for this. However, they went with 10 seconds because in their eyes it was unnecessarily dangerous and it could have well caused an incident, really, to be honest with you. And yeah, the stewards basically decided that it was a 10-second penalty. If they wanted to, they could have gone for a 5-second penalty instead, but they clearly thought that this was worthy of at least that. Which I understand. I totally get it. I mean, some people will still disagree with it. Some people think that maybe 5 seconds was right. But go and watch the onboard from Nico Hülkenberg's car. He was very much caught out by all that. And there would have been drivers behind him that were caught out by that as well. And it could have easily caused a crash. Thankfully, it didn't. But Piastri undoubtedly made a mistake and it ended up costing him. Anyway, I just wanted to get through that before we actually, got into this article here. Because it's interesting from McLaren. They are wanting to review Piastri's very harsh penalty, at least they think is a very harsh penalty from the British Grand Prix. They're not wanting to appeal it, they're not wanting to go against the steward's decision, but they are wanting to review it. So let's have a look at what's been said here, guys. Full article on the F1chronicle.com as always. McLaren has announced it will conduct further assessments of Oscar Piastri's disputed 10-second penalty from the British Grand Prix, maintaining that the sanction was, quote, very harsh. The penalty, which was issued for what the race stewards deemed to be erratic driving in front of Max Verstappen, significantly impacted Piastri's bid for victory at Silverstone. The incident occurred as Piastri, the championship leader, braked heavily down the hangar straight after the safety car has signalled it was about to pull into the pits, resuming the race. Neither Piastri nor McLaren agreed with the steward's decision though, and the team still celebrated a 1-2 finish with Lando Norris, extending his championship lead at his home race. But team principal Andrea Stella has had a lot to say about this, unsurprisingly. He said that, reflecting on the penalty, he said that, quote, I was actually taking another look at the data and the video before coming here. I have to say the penalty still looks very harsh. There are a few factors that we would have liked the steward to take into account. Stella pointed out that the safety car was called in very late. not leaving much time for the leader to actually restart in conditions in which you can lose tyre temperature, you can lose brake temperature, and the same goes for everybody. He also noted that the brake pressure of 50 bar is a pressure that you see during the safety car run when you do some braking and acceleration. McLaren is also reviewing whether other competitors, in this case Red Bull's Max Verstappen, made the situation look worse than what it actually was. However, the steward's verdict stated that Verstappen had to take evasive action to avoid a collision, briefly overtaking Piastri after the Australian suddenly braked hard at 59.2 psi of brake pressure and reduced speed in the middle of the straight, down from 218 to 52 kilometers an hour. That's around 140 miles an hour. Down to about 30 odd. It's a big deceleration. Stella said that we'll have to look at the other competitors to see if they made this kind of situation look worse than what it is, because we know that as part of the racecraft of some of the competitors, definitely there is also the ability to make others look like they are causing a severe infringement when they are not. So a few things to review, but in itself, now the penalty has been decided, has been served, and we move on. While accepting the ruling, he added that if there's anything for us to learn on our side, I am sure Oscar will use this motivation for being even more determined for the races to come and try to win as many races as possible in the future. So yeah, there you go, guys. I've looked at the menu and that is an option on there. You can go with that if you wish to. They went for a 10-second penalty instead of a 5-second penalty and 2 penalty points on his license. I mean, it's all up to interpretation effectively when it comes to that. There's no hard and fast, well, they did something erratic, they did something wrong. It's kind of up to the stewards to decide how harsh of a penalty that is going to be. And was 10 seconds fair? I mean, you compare it to other things that we see 10-second penalties for, and yeah, I mean, maybe it is. I don't know. I mean, I would personally say it's still on the harsh side for sure, but I understand as well why the stewards want to put a hard line under this, because some people again will say, well, it was under wet conditions, it was very difficult. But if you're under wet conditions like that, then you've got to be more careful. The visibility is worse. If anything, that makes it worse from Piastri's point of view. And also seeing things solely from Piastri's point of view, I don't think is the most accurate way of actually determining this. I've said ever since the race finished that, you know, Piastri, we should see the onboard from his car, but I think almost it's a little irrelevant. I think seeing the impact that it had further back, I think that very much does show the impact of what this had for people further down the grid. And like I said, I've seen it from Verstappen's POV, I've seen it from Hülkenberg's. Doesn't look too great, to be honest. But guys, what do you think in the comments below? I want to hear what you have to say as always. Was 10 seconds the correct penalty for this? Should it have been 5? Should it have been applied post-race? Should it have been reviewed with the driver's kind of input in there? I understand the stewards don't want to do post-race reviews because then you're waiting for because then in this case, you may well have had Piastri on the top step of the podium celebrating the win, and then everybody went home and realised, oh, Lando Norris actually won, and he wouldn't have been able to celebrate with his home crowd. So yeah, not too great. I don't think that would have been a good situation. But yeah, your thoughts are appreciated in the comments below, guys. Like, share, comment, subscribe if you want to see more. Listen, have a fantastic day wherever in the world today, and we'll see you very soon.